If you're like me, then you're super excited for FloWrestling's July 25th event going down this Saturday at 8 p.m. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to watch it, who's wrestling, as well as who my personal picks are to win each event. Now, if you're just looking for a link, I have that linked down in the description below where you will find that. Now, I want to note that you are only able to watch this event if you are a Flow Wrestling subscriber. So if you're not a Flow Wrestling subscriber, you will not be able to watch the match. You may see some highlights on social media after it's over, but really it's just live down on Flow Wrestling. Down in the description below, you can find that link. And that gets us into talking about who is wrestling and why this is such an exciting event. I mean, this is the first wrestling we've had since the Rumble on the Rooftop just a couple of weeks ago, which was a great handful of matches. And before that, it was before the NCAA tournament that unfortunately did not happen. Now, that brings us to questioning who exactly is wrestling as well as who my picks are. So these are your matches. These are the bouts happening on July 25th. And we have 5 matchups that are going to be super exciting to watch. We have some recent college grads, some guys who are still in college, as well as some of the top world level athletes competing in this event. First of all, we have Vito of Cornell going up against Sammy Alvarez, which should be an exciting one. Jack Mueller, a recent graduate of Virginia, going up against Penn State's Roman Bravo Young. Caldwell, who has now been graduated for like 10 years now, going up against recent Ohio State grad in Luke Pletcher. We're talking about David Taylor and Miles Martin bringing that Penn State and Ohio State rivalry back, although both of those guys are out of college now, obviously. And then we have Kyle Dake going up against Frank Chamizo, which is your main event of the night. And I mean, 2 of the top ranked guys in the entire world. That is going to be one to watch. So the first matchup we have to talk about in that order are the matches are happening. The first matchup is Vito going up against Sammy Alvarez. Now, I will tell you that the favorites of each match, and in this first one, it's Vito Araujo. He is the favorite to win. Look, he's taken the last year off of college wrestling so that he can focus on his dream of becoming an Olympic champion. And he's taken that Olympic red shirt year and has done nothing but train. Now, I'm not saying Alvarez hasn't trained in freestyle or anything like that, but I'm just saying Vito has taken that time to specifically train for that. He also has some more freestyle accolades, such as placing 3rd at the 2019 Senior Nationals, which was a big event for him. Now, what Alvarez does have on Vito is the size advantage. These two are wrestling at 140 pounds. And so they are already bumped up a little bit from their regular college weights. We've seen Vito wrestle 125 pounds in college. And look, Alvarez does have that size advantage, and he did have a solid college career up to this point, 26-10 this year. And he'll make things very interesting with his scrambles. But really, overall, I have to say that Araujo is the guy who I'm picking to win. I think he just has a little bit more prowess. He's just going to be able to score a little bit more on Alvarez, and that's why I have him winning. And as I'm going along, please leave your comment down below on who you think will win each match. Now we're talking about Jack Mueller going up against Roman Bravo Young. And this is another exciting match. Now, Mueller is the favorite here. Mueller going up against Bravo Young is the favorite here. But my pick is personally going to be Roman Bravo Young. And I'll tell you why. So, although Mueller has had some incredible freestyle success. I mean, looking at his Beat the Streets match against Nick Piccinini just last year, which was a great match, and he's able to control guys. I mean, he's just a point scoring machine. And in college, I mean, he was dominant on top, always throwing those boots in, always looking for that cradle. He's always scoring points, which was huge. He also has some freestyle success, and honestly, more recent senior freestyle success than Roman Bravo Young. Now, Roman Bravo Young can pull out anything crazy, and I think that's kind of what gives him an advantage here over Jack Mueller. I'm not saying Mueller can't do it. I'm just saying that's what my takeaway is. He has had success in junior freestyle events, so not quite on that senior level like Mueller is. Now, Mueller, like I said, he is the favorite, but my personal pick to win is RBY. I think he's going to pull out something crazy and, win this match. And that moves us on to Caldwell against Luke Pletcher. And this is really a tough one to decide who is the favorite here. Now, Caldwell, technically, I guess, had more success in college, becoming an NCAA champion. Pletcher had recent success, multiple-time All-American, could have been a national champion this year, in my opinion. And this was a match originally supposed to be against Anthony Ashnell, Pletcher versus Ashnell. Ashnell was injured, so had to pull in Darren Caldwell, which kind of makes this more exciting because we haven't seen Darren Caldwell on the mat in like 7 or 8 years since a former Olympic trials run. And we saw that since that time, Caldwell has actually just been performing. He's been in the MMA, been fighting MMA in the Bellator. So he's been out of sorts. He hasn't really been on a wrestling mat. That isn't his skill right now. Not saying he lost all those talents or anything, but it's just not what he's been training for. Obviously since he's been asked to do this match, he's been training, but, overall he's not been on the mat. It kind of reminds me of the Askren versus Jordan Burroughs match that happened last year. Yes, Askren still wrestles. He still has his wrestling club. He still has everything going on, but he was not technically still a wrestler on the level that Jordan Burroughs was, and we saw exactly what happened there, which was a fun match. I think you may see a little bit of the same thing happen here. Now, Pletcher, who had a phenomenal college career this year, wrestled Lugo at Rumble on the Rooftop, and unfortunately was controlled. Unfortunately, if you're a Pletcher fan, was controlled by Lugo. Lugo ended up getting that win. So I think really the question here is, who is more in his prime right now? Is Caldwell more in his prime from all of his training with MMA? Is Pletcher more in his prime just because of wrestling? This will be interesting to tell here. My pick, and it's not going to be a crazy blowout win or anything, but my pick's going to go with Luke Pletcher, and I think that should be a fun one to watch. Next, we get on to David Taylor going up against Miles Martin, and this is an exciting one. The clear favorite here right now is David Taylor. David Taylor is the favorite as the world champion, and who's been absolutely dominant and invincible since like 2017, 2018. He's already qualified the U.S. for the Olympics at 86 kilograms. But you also have Miles Martin, who is actually another top 10 ranked guy in the entire world. So you have two top 10 ranked guys going up against each other. David Taylor, number 1 in the world. Miles Martin, number 8 in the world. Martin is a 4-time All-American, plays second at the Bell Farrell as well as senior nationals. And what's so exciting about this is you have the Penn State versus Ohio State rivalry coming back at you. This is so exciting to see these two rivals go at it. I mean, you've already seen these guys tweeting back and forth at each other on the internet, and this is just such a big match that's going to happen. I don't see Martin scoring too many points on David Taylor, if any, if I'm being completely honest. But I think he still should bring some excitement to the match, and that's why my pick is going to be David Taylor. But I mean, it'd be crazy if something different happened, and I'm always open for an upset, but I just don't see it happening this time around. And then we talk about Dake and Chamizo, the main event of the night, and this has been such a hyped up match over this past month. One of the few matches that actually hasn't changed or been added to the event, but this has stayed the same. Dake versus Chamizo going against each other. World champ versus world champ. You have number 3 Dake going up against number 4 Chamizo in the entire world. The only other U.S. guy ranked above these guys, Chamizo of course out of Italy, Dake out of the U.S., is Jordan Burroughs, who's number 2 in the world for the U.S. at this weight. And this is such the weight that they're all looking to compete at in the Olympics next year. And look, Dake is the bigger wrestler here because you see Chamizo bumping up to take on Dake. And it's just kind of interesting what's happened here, seeing the I guess triangle with these guys wrestling. They've all wrestled Burroughs, all have had some matches back and forth with them. And I think it's just interesting to see who's actually going up to wrestle. Chamizo saying, I'm going up to wrestle you because you wouldn't take me on, Dake. And Dake saying, well, I went overseas to wrestle and you weren't you weren't there at the tournament. And you see that these two are just kind of going back and forth at it. Some excitement as far as, FloWrestling putting that excitement into people's heads. So Dake is the favorite here, but the pick that I'm going to choose, the guy who I think is actually going to win, is going to be Frank Chamizo. I think he may pull off something crazy. I'm rooting for Dake with all my heart, but I think Chamizo may pull something crazy off at this event. Please let me know if you think I'm crazy, or who you think is going to win it and what's going to go down at this event.